Okay, so now we're looking at some formulas in Excel. Now, formulas are where Excel becomes more dynamic in that you can use Excel to combine and calculate various results or values for you. Now, this is particularly important when you get to a budget. So a budget is going to contain a lot of different parts, and each one of these parts is going to contain a lot of information, such as, let's say, the amount of scriptwriters, or sorry, the amount of days a scriptwriter needs to work, and then the amount that that scriptwriter costs per day, and then a total, and then you could have another 5 different people here. So you need some way of calculating things on the fly so that you can arrive at totals and then bigger totals and then, full on master totals for your budget. So you don't want to be doing all this mathematics manually, and every time you need to change information, having to change everywhere that that information is referenced. So there's a lot of kind of information here that, such as a day's shooting, which could change, midway through, and you need to up this to 40 or something like that. And then you don't want to have to go back and change every single piece of information that relied on that number there. So we'll go back to this very basics of formulas. So what these allow you to do first and foremost is to just use the data or the values contained within cells, and as I say, combine those in some way to get a result. Now, this is a list down the left hand side here of some basic formulas. Now, formulas are pretty much the backbone of Excel, and you'll see that if you check there really is quite a lot of these guys here that you can, depending on what it is you're doing, these are all used for different reasons, but we're just going to focus on the basic ones, in this case sum, addition, multiplication, subtraction, and then we'll throw in a custom one at the end. So sum is used when you have a number of values across cells and you need to create or get the sum total of all of those values. So what you do is you put in an equal sign either up here or down here, and when you put in the equal sign, the cell kind of pops out into a new text field, and if I put in sum and then open bracket, it will then ask me, okay, we'll put in number 1, number 2, and so on. And the way that you do that is to just click and drag through all the different cells that you want included in this formula, and when you close the bracket and hit enter, you'll see that it's going to get the sum total of all of these numbers, 142. Okay. Now, addition is probably a little bit more simple in that it just means where you're adding two values together. So it's already done here, and you can say it's equals I5 plus K5, and you'll see this is I5 and this is K5. So if I were to just go equals, and then instead of typing in the number, this is intended to kind of automate and speed up the process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the first value, put in plus, the second value, and hit enter. Okay, there's no brackets required there because it's much more simple and straightforward. Multiplication equals first value multiplied by second value, returns the value, and subtraction then, as you would guess, equals first value minus second value, return. Now, what you can do then when you get a little bit more confident with these is to do a custom formula. So you can see I've written some words here and some numbers. So what I want to do is add 100 to 30, then subtract, and then divide the result by 2. And the way that I would do that is put in my equals 100 plus the cell containing the 30. Now what I want to do is get the result of this, put it in brackets, then subtract this value. Now because I'm getting a new value from the result of that, I need to put all of that in brackets, and then divide by 2 simply by putting a forward slash, which is the divide, 2, hit enter, and there you go. Okay, so that is 100 added to 30. Their result is then 7 is then subtracted from the result of that, and then the entire result of all of that is divided by 2. Okay, so you can kind of park that one for the moment if you want. You might not need to get that complicated with the budget, but it's just to show you an example of some more complex use of formulas. It's the sum, addition, multiplication, subtraction that you're really going to be using in your budgets. So that's the good news, and they are much more simple to implement.